All right, big game. No decision yet on who's going to start, Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett. We laid it out for you what this team will need for Kyler to be able to start. One, they need him to not be limited. They don't want to risk re-injury. He's got to be able to run the whole offense. If those things happen, he'll play. If not, it'll be Jacoby Brissett. We'll talk a little Cowboys now. We'll go out. The Cowboys reporter for The Athletic, Jon Machota, joins us on the program. John, Tim Ring, Jon Gambadoro, how are you today?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you know, the first thing that pops is just everybody talking about how bad this Cowboys defense is. I see the numbers. I've watched some of the games. You watch all of the games. Is this historically one of the worst defenses the Cowboys have ever had?
Oh, yeah, no question about it. I've been covering the team for the last 15 years as the worst defense. Like 2020 was pretty bad, and that's probably the last one and probably the one that this one is competing with. And that was a similar situation. New head coach that year. It was Mike McCarthy's first year. And he brought in Mike Nolan as his DC, and it was just it didn't work. And at least there was an excuse at that time because it was that pandemic year. You could make the argument that's maybe the worst time to take over with a new coaching staff. You know, not quite the same here with this situation. So, Matt Eberflus, the DC, who obviously had been the Chicago Bears head coach, is obviously getting a lot of the blame, but as he should. But then it's also personnel. The front office didn't do them any favors by trading Micah Parsons, a week before the season started. And just the holes they filled on defense, whether it be through, the draft or free agency in the offseason, just didn't do enough. Now, I don't know that the personnel is bad enough that they should be looking this bad. But they are. And, no question. It's got the potential to be the worst defense in Cowboys history.
It was so funny. Right before the Cardinals played the Packers, we were getting ready for the Packers, Micah Parsons and the Packers, and there was a story that came out how the Cowboys may have won the Micah Parsons trade. And we looked like, what? Like, yeah, he's only got 2.5 sacks. They didn't judge everything, but they said the Cowboys got these picks and they got a player, and Micah Parsons only has 2. Then he wrecked the Cardinals for 3 sacks. He was a one-man wrecking crew. He was just sensational. But you look at that trade, obviously the Cowboys have had a lot of failures, I think, in the draft on the defensive side of the ball. But was it a shock when they traded Parsons, or were you kind of expecting it?
No, it was a shock mainly above the talent is really just because we have never seen Jerry Jones move away from a superstar player. It doesn't matter how ugly things got. Off-season agents, Jerry saying something publicly, the player saying something publicly. It's never gotten to a point where ultimately it didn't get figured out and everybody was happy in the end. And that didn't happen here. And I think as the days go by, ever since then, it just becomes more and more clear that it became personal between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. And so, that's probably not a great reason to trade a player. But I'm also I'm not in that group that says you can never trade an elite pass rusher like Micah Parsons. You can trade him. You don't trade him to the Green Bay Packers, and you got to get more for him than what they got.
Right.
But no, I live in a world where you absolutely can trade Micah Parsons. I mean, you're saying the Cardinals game? I saw plenty of those Cardinals games for Micah Parsons in his 4 years here. Now, can you get one of those in January? He might with Green Bay. He's got way more talent around him than he ever did. But what he's doing right now in Green Bay, we saw that every year in those 4 years he was in Dallas. What will he be doing in December? What will he be doing in January? That would be the one. And it's not like a shot at Mike or anything. It just what's natural about him. He's not built like a typical 4-3 edge rusher. He's built like a linebacker. And so that wear and tear that he takes on from players that are obviously bigger than he is, it adds up over time. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't live in that world where you just, you can never trade him. But you certainly cannot trade him to the Green Bay Packers. That team's been more of a thorn in the Cowboys side than any team in the last 15, 20 years. So the way the deal got done, that's what really deserves to be criticized.
I mean, if it's so dumb, it'd be like trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers.
Oh,
what is wrong with your city, John?
I don't know. It is wild. It is wild, though. That is. I mean, I don't follow the Mavericks nearly as closely as I follow the Cowboys, but that's one of those when you see that happen, you're just like, well, someone got lied to here. There's no way this happened. And I'll be honest with you, when that move happened, that was a very popular thing for people like myself to say, well, you can hate Jerry, but Jerry would never do that. And I didn't know. I didn't know.
Right, your classic way. You try to hold my beer. John,
right.
the Cowboys. as bad as that defense is, to be fair, the offense is pretty good. There's a reason why with a win on Monday night, you guys can kind of start talking about the playoffs again if you're not talking about it already. Clayton Adams is a guy we had here. It looks like we're missing him, and it looks like he's doing a really good job with Dak and those guys.
Oh, no question about it. Yeah, he's been great for their run game, and it's probably more than that. But it's just like when you have, George Pickens on one side and CeeDee Lamb on the other, and you have Dak Prescott as your quarterback, 10-year veteran that you're really not going to be able to throw much at him that he hasn't seen before. You expect the passing game to have success. There'd be something really wrong if it wasn't. But the run game was the one where, they didn't really go after anybody. They haven't really the last two off seasons done much at running back. And so they go get Javonte Williams, and we're sitting here at training camp thinking, I don't know what they think this is going to be, but this looks like it's going to be exactly what it was last year with Rico Dowdle, and has exceeded that. And so no question that Clayton gets a ton of credit for that. And the Cowboys are certainly happy to have him. There's really not much you can criticize about their offense.
Cardinals are coming off the bye. They've had a little time to prepare. The Cowboys get the one extra day coming off of the really tough loss against Denver. They just played awful in that football game, and Denver's just so good defensively. Do you expect any defensive changes? We heard all week about Schottenheimer could change this or could change that. Or is it too soon to make big changes in the schemes?
Something has to change, but this has been going on all season. Really, that's my thing I keep going back to when I write about this defense is it's always like, this is a large sample size. This is not 4 weeks. This is to the point where, Brian Schottenheimer's been talking about how he's spending significantly more time working in the defensive meeting rooms than he was at the beginning of the year. That's typically the way the Cowboys have done business, for a while. It's that you have an offensive-minded head coach that focuses on the offense, and they hire a DC who has previous head coaching experience, and it's kind of like, well, you take care of that side of the ball. And so Brian Schottenheimer spent way more time working on the defense than I think he ever imagined that he would. And so, because of that, they'll say there will be changes. There have been changes in the past, but there won't be major changes. When they say changes to me, the thing that's been this season is they've played too much zone coverage, and I could see them moving into a little bit more man in this game. And then the other change is that they haven't blitzed a ton. And then when they've said that they're going to make changes, they usually blitz a little bit more. And so maybe that would be it. But in terms of personnel, there's not really much they can do aside from making a big move, which isn't going to happen between now and that game.
Leave me with this, because I want to get – this is an opinion thing. I want your opinion on this. Do you think the Cowboys would rather face Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett? Because for the last 2 weeks, we've watched Jacoby Brissett do things with this offense that Kyler Murray hasn't been able to do, and that's get the ball down the field. A lot of jury's still out on Kyler, whether they want him back, score more points. And so, here, it's like, man, it looks like Jacoby's better. And we've seen Kyler for 7 years, and it's just never gotten to where they wanted to go. Who do you think that they would rather face?
I think they'd rather face Jacoby Brissett. But with that being said, I think you could put up 20 on this defense at quarterback. So that's the thing. You can pick one or the other, but I'm living in a world where I saw Russell Wilson put up numbers that if he could just play the Cowboys every week, he'd be up for MVP. Every week somebody is going off against this defense. And so it really doesn't matter who the quarterback is, but if you had to pick, they would be foolish not to pick Jacoby Brissett because Kyler Murray's been a thorn in their side, and whatever anybody wants to say about how overblown this is or anything, now that I've seen him at that stadium 3 different times, whether it be high school, college, or the pros, he does – things work out well for him in that stadium. So I don't know why you would want to see him there. And with this defense, he certainly has the potential to have a huge game. That's the thing. This whole season, there have been guys in every team where they haven't been doing very much, and then they play the Cowboys and put up a big number, and I could certainly see Kyler Murray doing that.
John, appreciate the time. Thanks so much. Enjoy the game on Monday.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.